Hello and welcome back to Wondrous Photography. Take a look at this picture that I took in the Lost and Smell Islands in Andaman. Now look at the subject in the photo, that is the boats. Now you might be wondering that in this photo the subject, that is the boats, is not perfectly in the middle and neither is it following the rule of thirds very perfectly. So why is it so? Well, this brings us to another rule, which is the rule of off center. So what happens is that sometimes you want to keep the background in the absolute middle. Now normally in rule of thirds what you do is you keep the foreground in one of the vertical or horizontal frames, that is in the grid lines, and you put the background in another, the exact diagonally opposite horizontal or vertical grid line. Now, and when you have the normal way, that is framing it in the center, then the subject is just in front of the background. Now in this photo, if you see, there is the hills in the background. This is the mountain, the Saddle Peak, which is the highest point of Andaman in the background, and these boats are the subject. So I had to frame the Saddle Peak in the absolute middle, obviously symmetrically. So that is why I used off center. So what happens is off center is that you have the background perfectly symmetrical and the foreground is neither in the grid line, that is in following the rule of thirds, and neither is it in the midpoint. It is perfectly between these 2 points in an approximate manner. So another example that would probably illustrate this better is, let's say you are in a Durga Puja pandal and obviously you want to have a picture with the idols in the background. So when you are framing the pandal and the idols, they would be in the background, in the absolute center of the background. Now you obviously would not want to have the foreground, the subject, the person that you want to take a picture of in the absolute middle, because then it will hide Ma Durga herself. So and neither would you want it to be in, let's say, following the rule of thirds, because then you have a missing point of reference in the opposite side, in the diagonal opposite. So in that case, off center would work very fine, and you will have your foreground, that is the subject, that is the person you want to take a photo of, in the off center position, wherever it fits, wherever the photo fits well, and you have the idols in the background. So that's one perfect example of how it can work. Thanks for watching.